Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am your co-host Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and we just want to give a huge congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. They proved us wrong. They proved a lot of people wrong. They proved a lot of people wrong. The people who probably are most excited about the Super Bowl victory are probably the bookies because a lot of people had the Eagles winning. And so I wanted to have a huge shout out to the Chiefs. A lot of people doubted them, and safe to say now that we are now in a new dynasty with another great quarterback. But we'll get into all that here in a second. But we just want to give a quick shout out to all of our new subscribers. We have had a bunch of subscribers since our Colts video came out. It's at about 12,000 views, just shy of 12,000 views. So if you have not seen that video, go check that video out. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and like this video, and leave a comment on what your thoughts were on the Super Bowl and all the fun festivities that come with Super Bowl weekend. So, but Ryan, that being said, what a game. I mean, it was a great game. It's funny to think it's like I think both teams played about as well as I think that you could play, especially the Chiefs in this offense in the second half. I mean, absolutely. I mean, just precision, absolute precision. Eric Bieniemy called a great game. Andy Reid called a great game. Patrick Mahomes is like, it's funny too. It's like just Tom Brady just retired, and it's like who's going to catch up to him? And now it's like Patrick Mahomes. Maybe. I mean, every year he's been a starter. Yeah. He's gone to an AFC championship at minimum. It's already been to 3 Super Bowls. He already has 2. And he's what, 25?
26.
26? Yeah. So
I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's him.
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, I hope he doesn't, with the way he plays and how he's able to improvise. I hope he doesn't come into injuries because I want him to have as long of a career as Tom Brady's had. He is so fun to watch. And there's one thing, too, that separates, like, from him.
And he's 27.
He's 27. Okay, that makes sense.
He'll be 28 next season.
Okay. But there's something that separates, like, him, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan. I'll even throw – not Matt Ryan, Peyton Manning. I was thinking of Colts quarterbacks. I don't know why I thought Matt Ryan. But Peyton Manning, and I'll even throw Aaron Rodgers in there a little bit. But their ability is like the play is called, and then they show up to the line, and their ability to read defenses and change the play and be like, hey, you are going to do this right here, and you're going to be open. And they just know it, and the improvisation that comes from it. It's amazing how great these guys are. And it separates them from guys who haven't won Super Bowls. Like that's like going back to like Matt Ryan there, Falcons fan. I always feel like he wasn't great at that. It was like the play was called and maybe he'll do a hot route if there's a specific thing. But he just went through his reads and there was enough there's either enough reads or he's got to get rid of the ball.
So to me that comes down to, especially at a young age, is the elite coaching that most of those guys have had. Aaron Rodgers, not quite as much as the other 3, but I think you look at Brady. Okay, they always had the next great offensive coordinator in the system, as well as Belichick just being arguably the greatest football coach ever. Peyton Manning, when they won the Super Bowl, Bruce Arians was his offensive coordinator, as well as Tony Dungy, who helped shoot the Tampa 2 defense.
And growing up with Archie Manning as your father, I mean, like just talking football, it's like
exactly. Yeah. And then it's like I think you look at Patrick Mahomes, and it's all right. Well, he has Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy as his 2 go-to minds to kind of help him do that, and then you couple that with their ability to mold Patrick Mahomes' football mind with his physical talents and his competitiveness and will to win.
Yeah.
Like they are top 5 in coaching quarterback duos already, like 6 years into his career. And it's just what these guys could accomplish together could be Patriot-esque over the previous 20 years. Like you said, I
mean, it kind of already is. It is. I mean, I can't think of too many other teams that have had something like, maybe the 90s Cowboys or something like that, where they went to 3 of 4 Super Bowls. But or even the Bills during that same stretch where they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. But even one thing quickly, I will with that, and we're talking about Eric Bieniemy. It's like I think he deserves a head coaching job, but at the same time, I really like the idea. Is like if it's not like a perfect fit, if he stays with the Chiefs,
the Chiefs,
whenever Andy Reid retires, then it's like he's our guy. Like he's taking that over the head coaching job. Imagine that, like how great that would be for Mahomes' career, for Bieniemy's career, and for the Chiefs franchise, because they won't have to change any systems, they won't have to change anything. But that would be tough for him personally if there was a head coaching job that fit everything to say no to. Because he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it, and he called an absolutely great game. And another thing too, and I'm curious with this as well, but the Chiefs' offensive line dominated. Like Mahomes only had 180 yards passing, but he had a decent bit of yards running, and the way he was able to play the game and get drives, get first down, especially in that second half. But Isaiah Pacheco, he needs to buy all that offensive lineman brand new car or something, because they were giving him holes for days, and he did a great job, super quick. He's going to be a great running back in the league for them over the next several years. But that offensive line dominated, and that was the one thing I remember I talked about. I was like, I think this Eagles defensive line is going to crush them. But no, Orlando Brown, who we're going to talk a lot about later, and that offensive line crushed them. No sacks whatsoever.
That was my big thing going into the game, was like the one thing the Chiefs have to do is like they have to win the offensive line. And I'm going to give myself another pat on the back. They did a lot of the things that I talked about. They chipped on Andrew Wiley's side. They only had one offensive line penalty, and I think that was a false start on Orlando Brown. They didn't have any holdings, they allowed some pressures, but no sacks. And part of that was Pat Mahomes' elusiveness. But then especially at the end of the game, the final touchdown that the Chiefs scored to go up 8 points was they had an overload blitz on the left side, so they just ran Sky Moore on a little out route from a halfback or a H-back spot, and he just got right behind the defense. As much as I think Pat Mahomes deserved that MVP, the scheming and the offensive play calling and game plan by Andy Reid was absolutely genius. I watched it at Mom and Dad's house, and Dad and I were just talking about, like, there are just sometimes like Andy Reid will draw up plays and it just works to perfection, and you're like, that is just beautiful. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, and it's like almost like he's playing checkers, but like with both sides, right? And he's like, okay, well, if I put this guy here, I'll put this guy here, and then it's hat on hat, and we're 15 yards down the field. And like some of the blocking schemes that they pulled out were just phenomenal. And you would see Isaiah Pacheco, like, well, it's a halfback read basically, and he just, all right, well, there's the hole, and I'll just, like, he just goes.
Yeah, he's so quick, he can just cut through any one of them.
And so it was a masterful offensive performance by the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't even want to take anything away from the Eagles, because they played hard for 60 minutes. It's just one of those things that, like, when you play a great coach and quarterback combo, you can dominate for 45 minutes. Right? And like the Eagles dominated the first half, but they were only up by 10, and they only scored 11 second half points. And it's like, okay, well, you lost. Like, that's such a hard pill to swallow when you dominate for the majority of the game.
And what's crazy too is, like, the Eagles, they only had the ball. Really, they only had the ball 3 times in the second half, and they got 2 possessions out of it. 2 points out of it. The field goal and then the touchdown with 2-point conversion. And then they had a random 3 and out, which then allowed the Chiefs then to go back down and score just like how they were doing. Got an entire second half to go up 8. But I don't really think they played a bad game. I think the defense, it's hard to say the defense.
Well, they got the defense.
It's weird saying the defense fell apart, because they dominated in the first half. The Chiefs struggled outside of that first drive to score a touchdown. But then it's like they just kept getting, like, Andy Reid just kept calling the best play. against
yeah,
that defense.
there's a play I want to highlight in a second, but it's not even like they had blown assignments or uh like they were just getting totally outplayed and like getting beat on assignments. It's just, all right, well, like we're gonna play over under on Travis Kelsey. If Pat Mahomes can throw it 4 inches off this guy's fingertips and Kelsey catches it, there's a safety right behind him to hit it, but that's a 15-yard gain. They
Yeah.
did that a couple times. Like they just did really well. And the thing that actually was most surprising to me was what you said, was how dominant that Chiefs offensive line was, but in the run game. If you
Yeah.
would have told me that a team was going to outrun the other by 45 plus 45 or 50 yards, I'd be like, oh man, the Eagles must have had a day. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, the Chiefs came out and ran for 180 yards
Yeah.
on them. And it's just like, okay, well, that's a really tough pill to swallow as an Eagles fan, because your defense has been so good all year. And it's like, it's not like they were that bad today or yesterday. They just played an offense that was even better.
Yeah.
So
It really was. It was a phenomenal game, and I think that's one thing to talk about, because I think now it's time to transition to what everyone else is talking about, and it was a phenomenal game.
Well,
in a game like that. Oh, go ahead.
Before you go, the play that I wanted to highlight was the Kadarius Toney touchdown. So
yes, that was a great play.
Well, it was
that's the play I was wanting to talk about.
No. It was a beautiful play design in the fact that Andy Reid had Kadarius Toney run a full motion against the same zone coverage prior in the half, and they didn't actually rotate. The corner just sucked in on the slot, and then they shifted in because they're in zone. So the corner didn't actually go with them. So they just had everybody. They faked the Kadarius Toney motion. Everybody shifts over on the defense, and now there's Kadarius Toney goes back out wide, and there's nobody there. And it was just a beautiful, like, they ran this play and then they saw what they did. So there was like, all right, well, we'll just come back and do this. And then it was the easiest touchdown possibly in Super Bowl history until the Sky Moore blitz beater that they threw the next drive. But yeah,